Thanks. Those were great.
Wow.
Bosco came in right at the
Bosco was
perfect moment.
perfect. It's just like,
He was totally submissive. He just went like this.
I loved that the part where you were, it was like taking the skin off, putting it back on, and then I went right into butterfly world, like the whole process of having a boundary and recreating, and then coming back out and balancing into the new poise of that. And
Yeah.
it just, when you did this thing with the skin, I kept going back to, you know, when we're coming of age, there's this process that we go through. That's what I kept coming back to. And I was watching you integrate it in with the pelvic basin and into your sensuality, and then back into grace. Like how to carry that difficult, you know, it's like a difficulty of transformation that we go through. Do we ever really embody everything we feel when we transition through that time period? You know, when we're coming into our sexuality, it's like, do we ever really fully balance and integrate and forgive that? I mean, that was the insight I was having. That was my question.
About to
Well,
see,
thank you. Really powerful. Thank you, May.
Thanks. I think for me, when I got to the balance part, I was like, and even at the end pose was like, okay, I can be present, but I have my arms crossed over myself because I'm like, well, I'll just be present here, but you can't just come right in, you know? And then for the balance, it's like, it wasn't easy to balance on the grass, but I'm like, okay, let's stand your ground. This is both like encompassing, but also a boundary. That's what I was thinking. Like, I can take a step forward, but I'm going to have my boundary. I'm going to stay. That's that. And, you know, and then I wanted to practice doing that quicker. So I'd have a little more flexibility with, you know, just being able to put it up when, you know, not have to be slow about putting it up. So, yeah, I actually learned a lot. Thank you.
I also thought Bosco was a great reminder right at the beginning, because he just surrendered. Okay, whatever. He got his act together and left, and then came back at the end. But that to me was like another road sign, just like, oh, okay. And that's what you're moving from and moving through. But when you started, he was just like, oh, okay.
No, it was kind of funny. He put his paws up, and the last encounter I had with someone that was reminding me of this is she had put her hands up to me and literally pushed me. So Bosco put his paws up, and I'm like, we can meet, but we're not going to push against each other.
Thank you, Professor Bosco.
Yeah, he's amazing. He really is. Him and the cat.
Yeah, they like that.
Yeah. So any other,
I loved Carolyn, you know, going full on into the celebration. And then I felt her go back and really take in what she had forgiven. You know, it's like that little revisit came in, and then she just lifted it right back out. So it was really authentic. You know, it wasn't like, okay, now we're just going to celebrate. It was then remembering and honoring all that you've been experiencing, and then to celebrate that you came through it authentically. It was really beautiful.
Thank you. I've actually been working on this forgiveness for over 40 years. So it really is.
That's amazing.
It's over.
Beautiful.
You did look really happy. It was definitely celebratory. It really came through.
It's time to celebrate and stop suffering.
and celebrating in your body.
Yeah.
You know, Carolyn started coming to when we had live classes pretty regularly.
Hey, nope.
And
sorry.
It's definitely that whole, like, you know, undulating in your core. I've never seen, like, a little bit of that, like, last class, but not in the same, you know, shake it out kind of way. That was great.
Thank you.
Beth, I love that you told a story, you know, and that you told a story of the cards and that you still ended up moving and using your hands. It's such a good reminder, you know, and that it's a good reminder also because I think you're really in touch with what's happening as it's happened. It's not like afterwards. I mean, there's probably a layer afterwards too, but that you can really like sense what's going on as it's going on.
I can, and I'm also finding this process for me is as I do this, I'm embedding more than embodying. I am embedding the mantra, which I figured out I'm the chalice pregnant with fire held sacredly. That's in there now. So I can just tap into it now and then. And the piece about my hands is a very important piece because it wasn't until I saw the playback of our internship 100 years ago in Polarity. My mother used to tell me over and over and over, you have awful hands. They're just like mine. They're ugly, they're stubby, they're just disgusting, on and on and on and on. And the older I get, the deeper I get into this work, the more I realize that she was in her assessment.
Wait, I missed the last thing you said. Something. The deeper you get in
this work, and the older I get, and the deeper I get into this, I realize how incorrect she was in her assessment.
No, I'm in the middle of just formulating a short dance video I want to make about hands. And this is, I'll send it to you, Stephanie. There's a beautiful
Please do.
prose. No, I'll just tell you the prose that is inspiring me. It's actually by an anatomist. And he writes the most beautiful poetry about the anatomy of the hands and how remarkable and miraculous they are. And I just so want to send that to you. There's one thing, my mother died, God knows, it was 48 years ago, but there's certain things I always remember about what she said. And she used to just look at my hands and go, you're going to do something with your hands.
Oh, wow.
I'm 4'11", and she's like, you have such beautiful long fingers. I'm like, what? But the fact, I have ended up doing something with my hands, and I think about that. She's like, there's something about your hands, and that's when I was a child, and like, I don't know, but it was a beautiful blessing to that.
Nice.
So I want to give that to you.
Thank you. I'll look forward to seeing that and reading the poetry.
I'll send you the poetry. The video might take a little longer.
Whenever. I love Darcy's lantern. She picked that lantern up.
Oh, yes.
Boom, there it is. There's that sacred chalice. I love it. Here we go.
Yeah, and there it is.
So it was also when you were saying chalice that there were two things. There was the innocence at the spark, the beginning. Yeah, it's a flame that goes on, and we hold it dear. But it's also the beginning. It's the alchemic beginning. So the curiosity was in there. The page always presents to me the curiosity about it.
Yep, true. Something new to learn.
Right. And Sophia's thing with the shadow.
Oh, that
in and out. And what I really loved is how she was able to you really took it down into the ground. Like it wasn't the all moving.
Yeah.
It was, you pulled it down and then you gave it back to the earth. You brought it back down into the ground a few times. And from what I know from observing you, that was brand new.
Yeah.
And so I was celebrating when you were doing that. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a level of trust in your movement.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm moving. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Where I'm moving or how I'm moving, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
That really translated.
And Laura's piece to me was like, I kept coming up with this. I kept seeing the clock. I kept seeing Laura representing the clock. It was like, okay, and then I'm gone. I'm vertical, you know, but then I'm here and I'm in the tribe, but then I'm also, it was like you were a timekeeper for the tribe. I don't know what else to say,
Right.
but that's what I was seeing, was she's a timekeeper for the tribe. And it may not even have like this personal story in it as much as it is that she's her role. I saw her role so strong, and then she goes vertical and she's gone. But then when she's here, she's timekeeping. You know, she's observing, she's in the hall, and she's timekeeping somehow.
You know, thank you. That's very interesting. I was sort of, when I was at the top, I felt like, you know, there's the wheel of fortune, you know, I was kind of,
That's
But-
what I got. As you circled, that was you in the wheel of fortune and letting it carry you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, kind of being like, do you have any choice? No, you just have to go with whatever happens. And when
Yeah.
you're down at the bottom, well, that's
Right
probably
way
not the
back
best
up.
part of the cycle, but we'll get back to the top someday, especially if we do enough meditation.
My question to you, Laura, I have a question for you. Do you think you're just biding your time?
You know, thank you for asking that. I'm going to write that down, and I'm not going to answer it right now because it looks like
it's
a
just
meditation question.
Yep.
Do you think you are just biding your time? You know, sometimes I do. I know that for sure. Sometimes I do, but it's important that we don't just, you know, feel like, okay, well, you know, I'm 64, you know, I'm gonna apply for Medicare pretty soon, and you know, just the idea that, yeah, now kind of we're sort of winding down at the end of things, and but I'm also at a turning point, which Miriam was talking about, and we're all like, well, what's next? What can we do next? Because in a way, we could just bide our time and wait to die, right?
That's
But-
what it brought up for me.
Well, then
That's
again, you could have 30 more years of life. So I don't know about that.
Exactly, that's
was
the
the
thing, you know,
thing,
there's
though.
some balance you have to have there, you know, you could die tomorrow. Or you
That's
could-
why I was asking, do you think, because that's the mindset it brought up for me,
Yeah,
right? But not
Yeah.
the reality, it's the mindset.
and that is why it needs, you know, rather than just to answer it like, yeah, sometimes I do feel like that, I think it's a worthy question to meditate on. So I will meditate on that. And thank you very much for providing that. And if I come up with something good, I will definitely let you know next time we get together.
Thank you.
All right, and on that note, I know some of you guys have to go. It's 2 more minutes. I just want to finish up, and then we can stay on and continue to talk. Whoever doesn't want to come, that for a few minutes, that's okay. That's my time boundary. But thank you. This was lovely. I learned something from everybody's card reading and everybody's dance, and that's been really lovely. The next class is pre-Halloween, and it's, you know, about asking for our ancestors, but because we can't like pull out of the costume bag, which, you know, I've actually been building since the shutdowns, is to
Yeah.
is to wear your mask.
Oh, yeah.
A COVID mask or a mask mask?
COVID mask.
Ah,
Okay.
All right, here it is.
There's no restriction on what the mask looks like. It just has to be a COVID mask, right?
Right.
All right, I got that covered already.
All right. So thank you so much. This has just been my honor being here, and I'm going to actually turn off the recording and